Tim's here. So for those of you that haven't seen season 1, click the link which will appear in the top corner of the screen now, and it will take you to some of the episodes for season 1, and click on our channel and go to the playlist for season 1. Tim helped me sail Miss Rosie, our previous boat, back from the south of England last year. Tim's a student in naval architecture, is that right?
Yeah, marine engineering.
Yeah, marine engineering, naval architecture, that kind of thing. So he's helping me a lot with bunches of stuff, and he's an excellent sailor doing the round the world clipper yacht race, which has been deferred because of COVID, but he's done most of it. So thanks for joining us, Tim. And our next stage of the job today is to go outside and start assessing what we need to do to slacken off all of this rigging to make the mast ready to come down on Monday. So let's go and do that. So we've got these 2 chain plates to do at the back, which are actually the wrong length by the look of it, because if you look, that should be on the chain plate, and this has been added on because whoever made the rig too small. So that's going to have to be improved upon. We're going to have to change that backstay. We've got to slacken this one off. We've also got to slacken this backstay off, which is the same. So we'll be taking these split pins out, slackening off the bottle screw, taking that split pin out, removing the cotter pin, just to make sure it comes out cleanly, and then putting it all back on so that it just stays up until Monday when it all comes down. So that's that backstay. We've got a chain plate here, same deal. They've obviously made this rig too short when they cut it. That was incorrect, and they've had to add this piece on, so that's wrong. So this regardless of whatever condition the rig's in, that's going to have to be changed. Same deal, slacken this one off, remove the cotter pin. This one is okay. It's all stay-lock fittings, but we might change the whole rig, but we'll see. I'll get it properly looked at once it's down. That one's okay, good length. This one's okay. Moving forwards again, we've got the baby stay. This can be in 2 positions. Can you see that actually snapped through previously? So that's going to need a new chain plate. Then we've got the big beast on the forestay, which we'll tackle as well. Moving aft, we've got the forward lower, the centre upper, and the aft lower. So there's all of our stays and shrouds, and it's just started to rain. Bloody typical. First job then, we're all out with our tools, just removing split pins from the bottle screws, not from this cotter pin, because then the mast will fall down. 1, 2, there you go.
Oh right, yeah.
To be the length they are plus the length of that. Yeah. That's all it is really, isn't it? So yeah, we're just saying that what I was talking about earlier with some of the shrouds being slightly too short and having this extra piece on, how do we record how much longer those cables need to be? So these look okay actually. We might end up changing the whole rig, as I've said, but they basically need to be the length they are now plus the length of that little extension, and that will give us the correct length for the shroud. I mean, this is too short as well though, if you look, because if you look, that's not even sticking out there at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, no space for a split pin.
So before we undo them, let's make some notes on every single one and say this one needs to be the length it is plus how many inches or whatever. Plus,
I mean, just in case you're wondering, we're definitely going to have it re-rigged.
Yeah.
But it's whether we're going to have it re-rigged here.
Yeah, we might have it re-rigged when we get somewhere cheaper.
Or somewhere different.
Somewhere different, yeah.
They're a pain to get out.
I suppose that's the point at the minute.
Yeah. Typical Holyhead. There was meant to be no wind today.
I know. So baby stay, the inner forestay, I think that's correct.
Yeah.
That is okay.
Looks about right.
That's okay. So coming around this side. Lower shroud, our port side front needs to be, I think, an inch longer than it is.
Right.
Port side cap shroud needs to be at least an inch longer, could even be an inch and a half. Port side lower aft is correct. Oh no, it's not. No, it's not. It's got an add-on, so that needs to be 2 inches longer. I'm hoping that once we take the backstays off, that will be slack enough to just undo.
Right, yeah.
I'm going to Google that in a minute, but I'm hoping, yeah, that once we take the backstays off, that will relieve the pressure enough to get those cotter pins out, because I can't see how to slacken that off. Maybe we just have to remove the roller reefing drum or slide it up somehow. We'll have a look. So we're taking measurements of the rig, the height from the coach roof to the top of the mast and so on, so that we can do some sail power calculations.
Pretty much,
that kind of thing, yeah. So what do we do now?
So I've just put the string on there.
Yeah. If we ball that.
I'll just press it different.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. Just hope it doesn't jam, because that. So top of the mast to the top of the staysail is 312 centimetres, 3120 mil.
Got ya.
To the very bottom,
yeah,
is.
It's just a tiny bit too short, isn't it? No, you're right.
Is 10 metres.
10 metres. That's good. That's a nice round number.
It's a 13 metre mast, and the staysail is 3 metres from the top.
Yeah.
That's easy. That panel just will not come off without breaking it. We can easily make a new one. It's got to be replaced anyway because it's all rotten around the window, around the porthole, so that's just got to come off, but it's glued very firmly to a wooden batten. Yeah, so just to reiterate, this is all getting replaced with white, probably UPVC or painted plywood, but white, and across the ceiling in white with teak trim. But we're trying to keep everything from the shelf down, so the fact that we're breaking this doesn't really matter. It'd be easy enough to make a new one. Tim's excuse me, Tim's been making measurements and drawings of everything on the whole boat, so he can do this modelling, not fashion modelling, boat modelling. And now he's just measuring up the bathing platform, what we in Britain call the sugar scoop. So it's like this bit of a swim platform, sugar scoopy thing out the back. Some people in America, some of our viewers, have said, what do you mean a sugar scoop? What's a sugar scoop? I thought that was quite a common term. Some people don't use it. And these, right, let's see if we can show these on camera. That there is the bottom of a chain plate. It's a nice thick chunky piece of steel that's the bottom of that chain plate there. I'm hoping that picks up on the camera. There's the chain plate sticking out through the coach roof top, and there it is on the inside. So we've got to cut that out and weld new ones in, and there's the next one. Nice. And that's the bottom of that forward one. There's the top of it, and coming down, there's the inside of it. Okay, so that's the reason we need the mast taken down, because we can't really do that kind of job with the mast up. Plus, of course, we have to get the mast down because we want to service the mast, all the sheave blocks, new running rigging, new electrical cabling. Probably new electrical cabling. We're not going to throw anything away that's good wire, but probably new electrical cabling. new masthead lights, new spreader lights, all of which we've got to try and find from somewhere. So we'll service the ones that we can, but it would be ideal really to put new ones up. Oh, I was coming up here to look for Tim and he's disappeared. Where's he gone? Hang on. Tim's been measuring, taking countless measurements so we can do this computer modelling of the boat. Well, so he can. What have you got?
Lots of numbers.
Lots and lots of numbers. Oh, there you go.
Hopefully we can make some sense of that.
Yeah.
Just got to do the cockpit.
So, shall I do one of those things where I like put my hand over the camera and it switches to a computer rendering of it? Yeah, so switch that to a computer rendering like this. Tim is doing a degree in
Marine engineering,
naval architecture, boat designy type stuff. And he's got this amazing piece of software called MaxSurf. And he's putting all of the data for the boat into MaxSurf so that we can see how, theoretically at least, she should perform.
So then, of course, we've got the final element. We've got hydrostatics, we've got sail areas. Now we've just got wind. So we're testing at two knot intervals from 6 up to 20.
Okay, so that's 6 knots, 8 knots, 10 knots, 12 knots, 14, 16 and 20 knots of wind. Yep. And this will tell us then how the boat should perform at different angles to the wind in those wind strengths. So what's the key points about this boat then?
So this is showing our hull speed. The wind angles are around the outside here, so you've got 30, 60, 90 up to 180. And depending how far out the lines are is how fast we're going.
Right, okay.
So you've got this green line in the middle, that's our 10 knots of wind.
Sure.
So you can see on a beam reach, we're doing just over 5.5 knots.
5.5 knots. So in 10 knots of wind on a beam reach, we should be able to make 5.5 knots. I'm happy with that. Yeah, in 10 knots of wind, that's good. That's decent.
So that's 10 knots of true wind. As you go upwind, obviously your apparent will increase. So you're making it up to your fastest speeds are just forward of the beam, getting just over 5.7 there.
5.7 knots, and this again is still in 10 knots of wind.
Yeah,
brilliant.
So our lowest wind we tested was 6 knots of wind. Again, just on a close reach, you're getting nearly 4 knots, 3.9.
I'm happy with that. 4 knots of boat speed and 6 knots of wind. That's okay. It's you know, it's not a pocket rocket, but it's you're moving.
And our highest wind we tested is 20 knots.
Yeah.
You're getting
7.5 knots.
7.5 knots on the close reach.
Yeah.
Downwind, it's not bad actually. It's sustaining it pretty well. You're still getting 6 knots downwind. 6.5 knots downwind in 20 knots. Or in your 10 knots, you're doing 3.7.
3.7. So, yeah. So that's really good. I mean, I'm happy with that. In 10 knots of wind downwind, we'll get 3.7 knots. And in 20 knots, we'll get 6.5 knots. So let's just compare that again with the upwind characteristics. 10 knots to 20, between 10 knots.
So upwind on 20 knots.
Yeah.
Upwind 10 knots, sorry, you're doing 5.6. And that's at around 70 degrees true wind angle.
And then by the time we get up to 20 knots of wind speed, we're getting 7.4 knots of boat speed. I'm interested as well. How high upwind can we point, do you think, with this boat?
So the software at the moment, you can see these lines they tail off as you start to pinch at the top here.
I see, yeah.
And it's cutting off about 35 degrees.
So we should be able to get 35 degrees to wind before she luffs and just stops moving.
That's true wind angle, so your apparent will probably be further forward. You probably get at least 30, if not better. Right,
okay. Again, I'm really happy with that. Yeah. Most of the boats that I've owned in the past, little bathtub bilge keelers and what have you, you know, you're lucky if you get 60 degrees to wind. And is these calculations as well with the fin keel up?
Yes, it is at the moment.
Yeah, so that's worth pointing out. So far, Tim hasn't yet programmed in the lifting fin keel. So this is with the fin keel up. All the boat heel angles, the pointer characteristics, all of those things are basically just with the long keel. And these will improve with the fin keel down, I would have thought. Fantastic.
So your leeway will improve, your speed may go down, but not very much. We're talking like 0.1 of a knot.
Sure, because we've got more surface, wetted surface area under the water.
Yeah.
Okay, what about heel angles then? How comfortable is this boat going to be in different conditions?
So we can look into all sorts of things in here. You've got heel angle there. And this is without putting a reef in.
Right.
So in your maximum wind, again on a close reach.
Sure.
Upwind 20 knots on a close reach, the boat is heeling 24 degrees.
24 degrees in 20 knots of wind on a close reach. That's fine with me.
Yeah.
That's not uncomfortable at all.
And in your 10 knots, which is going to be more common, or we'll go for the 12 knots.
12 knots of wind, yeah.
Again, at the same wind angle, you're heeling just under 10 degrees.
Yeah, 9.141 degrees of heel angle in 12 knots of wind on a close reach. That's absolutely fine.
We should say that's that's again with the keel up.
Right. Anything else we need to cover? I think that's more or less it, isn't it?
Yeah, we could do a bit about the 3D printing to come.
Yes. So what we're planning to do, this may or may not happen, is Tim reckons that he can output this data into a 3D printing format, and I have a 3D printer. So what we're planning to do is spend a bit more time on this, take some more measurements of the pilot house, the interior, the keel, and all of those components, and actually build up a fully 3D printed model of the boat, which I'm hoping to then make available in printed format to our patrons and what have you. So hopefully down the line you'll be able to get a fully 3D printed model of Melody to put on your mantelpiece. We may even make the print files available on Thingiverse, so that if any of you are crazy 3D print gurus, you can download the 3D files in the STLs from Thingiverse and have a play around with it, and I don't know, put Mickey Mouse ears on my boat if you want. But yeah, that's all might happen in the future. But for now, thanks very much for Tim for that. That's amazing.
No worries.
And we'll be adding more data, more numbers to this, and it will gradually grow and become more accurate. And what will be fascinating is to see if the numbers produced in software are anything like the numbers that are produced in the real world. And they should be, because it's the same software that's used on, you know...
This is industry standard, yeah.
Industry standard. So when they're designing the Golden Globe boats and the Volvo Ocean Race boats, they use this.
Likely, yeah.
Yeah, so...
So
I've got a Volvo Ocean Race boat, me. Yeah. I've just found this as well in the, which I'm going to show you very quickly. This is a weld penetrant kit, and basically it's a three-part thing. I'll show you how it works on another occasion, but we're using it to test welds. So you spray this stuff on, which is basically a penetrant dye, which kind of very, very searching, and it finds its way into all the little nooks and crannies in the weld. Then you wipe it off, and then you quickly wipe over with a cleaner, but you mustn't clean the job. You just put the cleaner on the cloth, because you don't want the cleaner flushing out the weld dye, the penetrant dye from the weld itself. Wipe over it, and then you spray on the developer, and the developer will reveal all the places where that penetrant fluid has found its way into pockets. Now, it's more suitable, it's really more applicable for food food welding, food grade welding, where you've got little divots and pockets and cavities in the weld, which aren't structural problems, but they're going to hold bacteria. Where you've got milk and food products going down a pipe, hops, they use it in breweries a lot, to make sure that no bacteria can be held in any imperfections in the weld. So it's absolutely not essential for what we're doing, but it's a real sort of belt and braces approach to making sure that our welds are good. So I use the spanner to hold the top. You'll get
Concentrate on this for now.
So that one's undoing.
We feel like making progress.
When she-
Might be. So we've slackened off all of the stays, the back stays, the shrouds, and we've confirmed that when I come on Monday I'm going to be able to undo everything myself without any, you know, I'll have the guys from the yard here and the crane, but I'm not going to be faffing about trying to get bottle screws undone. Of course, being stainless, sometimes they can gall up, and if they've been done up for many years, they're difficult to get undone. So that shouldn't be an issue. Hi everybody, right, it's a very exciting day. As you can see, I'm still in uniform. I've come straight from work because I've just done a full night shift on the ambulances. I've come straight from work here because the crane is here today and we're finally getting the mast down, so I suppose I better get changed. That's a little bit more like it. So I've got to go and slacken off the rigging a bit more, look at getting some of those cotter pins out and set all these cameras up. Probably not going to be able to do much talking during this, guys, but the footage should be good. Okay, so we're all set up. I've got 3 cameras to video the proceedings. I'm going to have the drone in the air as well. Camera number 1 is over there. Camera number 2 is over here. And camera number 3 is over there. That angle might be a bit wrong, but I think it's okay. So 3 cameras, 1, 2 and 3, plus the drone, and we'll see if that actually works. The mast is officially down. It's down, down, down. Look at this. So there we go, the mast is down. Let me quickly have a little walk round and show you what we've got now on deck, and a little look, proper look along the mast now. This is very weird now looking at the boat. I'm too tired to get all of these bits and pieces off, but I'll get them off. I'll take these off actually because they're going to fall off otherwise, but I've got to remove these. There's the mast step, which I will remove and see if there's any rot or rust underneath it, but I don't think there is. We can now start really seriously working on the coach roof, and we can now start cutting out the chain plates, which will be amazing. So there she is with no mast at all. Fantastic. Now this is only going to be a very quick show round, because over the next few weeks now we can start to disassemble the mast, take all the fittings off, service everything and put it all back on. But let's see what we've got. We've got the wind here, which we've got a new one to put on. Bearings are all starting to go in that. It does work. Masthead unit, the tricolor and what have you, that all works. And we've got the VHF antenna, need to test that, although again probably replace it. Oh, these sheave blocks do actually move. Roller reefing is good, it's not seized, so I'll service all of that. I think that's probably serviceable. So these fittings here I'm not going to remove unless we absolutely have to, because drilling all of these out and then putting new ones in, I don't see the benefit in doing it. I'll take these out and clean them, but I'm not going to start drilling out these rivets. I just don't see that there's any benefit to doing that. But now the mast is down, we are now in a position to seriously get working on refurbishing the mast, refurbishing the furling systems and all the rigging, and we can get on with the chain plates in a serious way. So I'm so happy. I'm absolutely exhausted. It's early evening now and I've been here since 8 o'clock this morning after a 12-hour shift overnight. So I'm going to pack up and I'm going to go home. So I'll say ta-ra for now, and then I'll see you next time on Sailing Melody. you.